Good evening, everybody. It's Rich here, and welcome back to another Talking Cricket show. And don't worry, Ian Barron in the chat. We haven't declared. We were just backstage having a little bit of chat. Welcome to Ian, who's in the chat, Colin, and Ben, and whoever else is going to join us tonight. Please do get involved, because the last show we had, it was a really, really lively chat, and we had some really good questions, really good points. And anyway, thanks for everyone for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit the like button. It takes like a second. Please do hit the like button. We also have a Talking Cricket Twitter page, @OneTalkingCricket. If you want to follow us on there, please do. This show will be available, I think, in the morning. Martin will have it out as a audio. So if you're going to work and you want to put us in your ears and have a listen, please do. But tonight we have got Rob, Ian and Brandon with us. They will be in shortly. But at the start of the show tonight, we have got Annie Chave with us. She's going to come in and she's going to tell us all about what she does, who she is. She's a Somerset fan, and we have told her backstage no chat about the Essex result today. So welcome in, Annie.
Thank you very much. It was a good game today, wasn't it?
Not really. The rain ruined it, I think, for Essex.
Yes, that was it, definitely. Yes. Thank you for asking me on. You want to know about me?
Yeah, just tell us about you. I know you're the editor of County Cricket Matters. Just tell us where we can find you, what other podcasts you're on, and just a little bit about your background.
Okay, so about 2 years ago, we started, me along with another few people, started a magazine called County Cricket Matters. We started it because we were concerned about the effect the 100 would have on county cricket, and we wanted to give it a bit more of a we wanted to give it a bit of publicity, a bit of a boost. So this magazine, I'm now currently editing edition 11, and they're quarterly, and they come out quarterly. You can get them on the internet. On my webpage, countycricketmatters.com, and they're £13 for 4 editions. They're quarterly, and that's including post. And they're brilliant. They're just lovely little magazines full of articles about county cricket and some really good writers. I usually interview somebody. This week I interviewed Michael Holding. I've interviewed David Gower, Barry Richards, Bumble. Lots of really good people, and they've been great.
We that's what you have to sit on the podcast with us for.
Pardon?
We can't quite reach Michael Holding's standards, but we will try our best tonight when we chat.
Yeah. You're not, you haven't quite got the gravitas of Michael Holding, but he was a great person to chat to. But I also do a podcast called County Cricket Natters with Sam Dalling and Dan Whiting. We do that. We go through the round of county cricket, championship cricket, every round there is, and we talk about that. So I'm also on Guerrilla Cricket.
There we go. Look, up on screen.
There we are.
Podcast.
Incredible, as if by magic.
By magic, and it appears.
Yeah. Also, I do a bit of commentary on Somerset live stream, and also for Guerrilla Cricket. I don't know if any of you know Guerrilla Cricket. There was a test match sofa initially with Dan Norcross, and it turned into Guerrilla Cricket. And I do a bit of writing for the Cricketer, that sort of thing. So that's me, really. I love my county cricket. I love Somerset. And
I was doing a little bit of digging, and I heard you love Marcus Trescothick, and you could talk about him all day long.
Yeah, I mean, what a class batsman he was, and he always, he was always such a big name and a joy to go and watch. Always exciting when Banger was out in the middle. So definitely felt his loss last couple of seasons at Somerset. But yes, if I had to name my favourite ever player, though, it would be Viv Richards, because I'm a bit of a West Indian fan.
Joel Garner?
Joel Garner, yeah. I met Joel Garner. He's probably twice my height and twice my width.
Anyway, that's Annie. So we'll now bring in Brandon, who is returned from Croatia. How you doing, Brandon?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
And we've got Ian there, who has tell everybody, Ian, what you've been doing today, because you've rushed back. Well, you rushed back, but you were stuck on tractors, weren't you? But you've made it to 9 p.m.
Yeah, in the sort of rural part of Lancashire that I was driving through. I've been at Blackburn Cathedral today for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee service. I'll just explain. I was the +1. It was actually an invite for my wife, who got an OBE a couple of years ago. So she was the real guest. I was basically the taxi driver. And we thought, yeah, we'll stop off just outside of Clitheroe, have a bit of a pub lunch or whatever, and then on the way back, oh yeah, we've got loads of time. No, we were stuck behind loads of tractors, which is ironic for a Talking Town production today. So I literally opened the door, turned the laptop on, and here I am. So apologies for not having a cricket hoodie on. I've got
you
a cricket
dressed. You are best dressed on here. Annie did tell me she'd be in her pajamas because it's 9 p.m.
Yeah. I mean, normally I am tucking up into bed at this sort of time on a Sunday night.
We'll try not to keep you too long.
But I have just come back from cricket. I've just been watching my son play, so I am still awake.
How did he get on? Give him a shout out.
We drew. We had a timed game, which I absolutely love, and we managed to draw in the last over, considering the time had run down, and my son got a wicket. But yeah, it was good. It was fun.
That's what it should be about. And talking of fun, we've got Rob down there. He brings the fun. How are we doing, Rob?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, looking forward to it tonight. Nice to have a guest on. So yeah,
and tell everybody. So we're going to start. England have got a lot of injuries. Obviously, Brandon's favourite, and he is Chris Wokes. He's a massive Chris Wokes fan, and if you diss Chris Wokes, Brandon will be very unhappy with you. But
what a nice man, obviously. What can you say?
Nicest man in cricket, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we've got a few injuries ourselves. So, Rob, show me your finger.
Not as good as it was, mate. But yeah, it's broken.
Ow!
Broken finger. Brandon, can you please, for everyone watching at home, show us your leg?
Yeah, of course.
Steady.
Yeah, steady.
It's after 9. Okay.
This is like an episode of Jaws, the thing in Jaws, isn't it? Everybody's showing their injuries.
And Brandon tells us that it was just a glancing blow, yeah?
Well, I had time to lift my leg slightly. I'd hate to know where it would have hit if I didn't.
Well, there we go.
Did you not have a thigh guard on?
I was fielding at short mid-wicket.
Oh, dear.
Very short mid-wicket. Yeah.
Apparently, Owen, Annie, who comes on this podcast, was bowling, and he'd been bowling quite a good spell. So Brandon went in there, and then first ball proceeded
half tracker.
Halfway.
Cheers, Owen.
And Ian, we won't get you to show us your toe, but tell me about your toe. What's happened?
Yeah, I don't think I can get the actual shoe off, which had me sort of hobbling down the cathedral sort of steps there, looking like some sort of veteran from some overdressed war. But yeah, I got just sort of went forward to the spinner, bang, right on the toe. Next ball, exactly the same, right on the boot. So I had my foot in a bowl of ice last night, and yeah, it's broken. So really, really good.
It's a dangerous game, this cricket, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Did you have a cup game today, Ian, that you were missing anyway?
What's that?
Was it a cup game that you were missing today?
I was missing a cup game today. And because of all the rushing around, I don't even know how we got on. So I feel really guilty. So I'm not sure how we got on, but
you wouldn't have made it anyway.
We came second on Saturday.
You wouldn't have made it anyway, even if you could have played today. You would.
Couldn't have played. No, I couldn't have played today.
Anyway, we've done the injury report. We've chatted to Annie. So obviously Thursday for me. I always think the first test of the summer is when summertime really starts. You know, You listen to it on the radio, you watch it on the TV. So the Kiwis are in town. They are at Lord's. I'll give you a quick run through the England squad. So we've got Stokes, the captain. Jimmy Anderson returns. Stuart Broad returns. Bairstow. Harry Brook, who we'll talk about soon. Ian, you see him live on Friday night at Old Trafford.
Good indeed.
Zach Crawley, Ben Folkes. Annie can defend Jack Leach tonight because Ian is a massive Matt Parkinson fan and he's not in the squad. Yeah. But we'll go there soon. Alex Lees, Overton, Matt Potts, Ollie Pope, we'll talk about him batting 3, and Joe Root. So tell me about Harry Brook and what he brings to the table, Ian, and would he be in your 11 for Lords on Thursday morning?
Yes, he would be. I think he looked a bit nervous on Friday, but once he got a couple out the middle of the bat, he played some lovely shots, and like any good batsman, he looked like he got loads of time. It's probably only the second time I think I've seen him live, but he did look like he's got something. He's tall, he's quite elegant. He played quite a lot on the floor, but he was quite inventive. Early on, he got the reverse sweep out. So, he's obviously a dynamic cricketer, probably plays all formats equally well. But he looked like he got a good temperament. And, obviously he got out the very last ball, Rick Gleeson, LBW, having bowled
Do you think the game sort of situation, if it had been that had been a normal ball, I think he wouldn't have thought about it, and he'd have probably hit it for 4 because it was a full bunger, wasn't it? And he missed a straight full bunger.
It was, and I think Gleeson he tried a couple of times and not quite got the length right with the sort of trying to basically bowl a Yorker. But yeah, played right across it, and there it was. But it was an exciting game. There was a lot of people there. My lad was working the game as well, so he was sort of, when you see the school kids sort of come out and give a guard of honour, he was sort of behind Mark Butcher as he was talking about it on Sky. And he's been there again today. So and another good win today against Worcester, Rob. But
although Colin does say in the chat, Ian, how did Lancashire get on against Essex last week? He was very quiet in the WhatsApp group, Brandon. Very quiet last week when Essex were rolling them over.
Yeah, I thought something had happened to him. I thought he must have been marking more GCSE papers. I just to go back to the game situation, as you said, with Harry Brook, it reminded me a bit of Ben Stokes in the World Cup final when he tried to sort of get 2. Any other time, he would have hit that for 6 because it was a full toss on his pad, wasn't it? And then he just tried to nick it down the ground for 2 and timed it too well and got a run out and went super over. So it was quite similar to that situation. But yeah, I think I was surprised that Essex beat Lancashire, to be fair, last week. With I think Essex have struggled a bit this year, haven't they, Red Ball? And Lancashire had sort of been the opposite. But
well, I think that's the beauty of county cricket, though, and we'll probably all agree on this, is that it wasn't an expected result. And I think cricket can, bring up the unexpected. If it was a sort of, Liverpool playing Burnley, you'd expect Liverpool to win. I'm not saying it's quite like that with Essex and Lancashire, but Lancashire have started well. But no, it was a really good result for Essex, I think, and very well played to them.
This is what you said last week, Robin, about county cricket, and you were defending it, and you were on about the IPL, weren't you? About not really interested in the IPL. I know we're going a little bit off base here, but the IPL finished today, didn't it? The final. But it's been going for, 3 months?
2 months. Let's not exaggerate. 2 months.
Been going on for ages. Average score 165 every game. Yeah. And you've got all those interruptions and stuff. As I said, I was watching the Worcester Lancs game and it took about half the time to get it done. Yeah. So, good to get that out of the way. Just thinking about Worcester today against Lancashire, and Lancashire have got absolute star-studded team. They've got Joss Butler to come back into that team as well. He knows what he's doing at the moment, doesn't he? So,
who?
But good riddance to it for now.
So Harry Brook, have you seen him live, Annie?
I haven't seen him live. No, I've watched a lot on the YouTube live feeds, but he's scoring runs for fun, isn't he? He's absolutely. And I see Craig from Portsmouth says we must play him, a man in the form of his life, and I totally agree. What if you're not going to play him now? Then when will you play him?
I think they've sort of put themselves into a bit of a hole, Rob, by saying Ollie Pope's going to bat at 3 and Roots at 4.
1,000,000%.
You know, you've sort of, there's only one position. Johnny Bairstow, 5. Obviously, Stokes has gone down to 6. So they're all saying John. I know you wouldn't pick Johnny, Rob, but he's looking like he'll come straight back in. I totally agree with Annie there. If you're not going to play him now, he needs to keep playing cricket. He needs to keep playing. He is in the form of his life, and you've got to take the plunge with him and throw him in, see how he gets on. We know what Johnny does.
I completely agree. Like I said on the last pod, I'd have him in ahead of Bairstow, and he's had 2 weeks of scoring runs, hasn't he? So the other one is Compton, isn't it? Who's gone past 1,000 runs today? Who, you know, again,
he likes scoring against New Zealand by the look of it as well.
Yeah, they'd hate to see him turn up on Thursday, wouldn't they?
But don't you think they've dug themselves into a hole there, Rob, by saying Ollie Pope's going to bat at 3, and they've only left one position open?
Yeah, no, I do. But also,
why is he getting 3 as well?
If you look at him, he averages like 73 in first class cricket. Admittedly, normally hiding down at 5 or 6 after the when the old balls on, etc. But it's also a bit of a backing from Stokes and McCullum and going, look, you're about the best player, best young player we've got. Go and have a series, go and do it. Get on with it, because he hasn't really been tested hiding down at 5 and 6. So good luck to the lad, I think. Although I'd probably have Brook there instead, but Pope's numbers don't lie. So
don't lie, but he's never batted at 3 though, Ian, in his career.
No, I mean it's. I think it was a little bit odd than coming out and saying Pope will bat at 3. I'm not too sure what the rationale behind that was. I think it would have been better from a strategic point of view to sort of keep, if that was going to happen, just keep that information in your back pocket, because New Zealand can plan for that now, can't they? Yeah, it's a little bit odd for me, but I think it's probably part of this sort of dynamic approach that maybe Stokes and McCullum are going to have, and they're going to say what they're going to do, and it's all going to be quite proactive and strident. He will have to deliver, because it could well be, a couple of failures. Maybe, if he plays the first 2 tests and doesn't get any runs, I think you're possibly looking at the end of Pope's Test career. I really do. I mean, I know you said never say never, but I know it's a big call, but we've got so many good young informed batsmen. We just mentioned Brook, and I think you've got to pick people who are in form. Let's hope that England don't just get Brook to carry the drinks like they have with other players who will remain unnamed at the moment. But yeah, I mean, he's not done it, but they're giving him another chance. But he really has to deliver in this New Zealand Test series, or I think it's over for him.
That's a big call, that is. But
that's
they did
hard.
I do agree. He has to. I think they'll back him for the series, Ian. I think if you're going to say you're batting 3, we're not going to chuck him out after a couple. He gets the whole series for me. I know what you're saying. We've got a lot of batsmen, but wasn't it Brendan McCullum saying we'll pick our best team available for each test? Well, if you're picking your best team, Harry Brook's in your best 11, surely.
Yeah, and I think a couple of people not in the squad are probably in it as well, aren't they? I would have had. I think, as you said, they've shot themselves in the foot with the 13-man squad they've got, because the only 2 positions you're looking at is really if they play Overton or Potts, and if they play Brook ahead of one of Bairstow, Pope, and Folkes maybe. And you just look at that and you think, well, they're not going to do that, because if they've said, I think they've said that Bairstow's batting 5, and that means you're not going to give him the gloves, because otherwise he'd be batting probably down at 7. And yeah, I think we've shoehorned a lot of people into batting positions, which means we haven't got much flexibility. I don't understand that before the West Indies series, we were like, oh, Joe Root should be batting at 3. He's our best batsman. He should be at 3, because at least then that stops us going 2 down early doors anyway. And I thought he batted quite well at 3 in the West Indies. And then suddenly we've come back and we've said, no, Joe Root's going to bat 4. Ben Stokes has been batting at 5 for years, and now he's going down to 6. I don't understand it. What if you're gonna pick a squad with knowing that Root's batting at 4, Stokes is batting at 6, Bairstow's batting at 5? Why haven't we picked an out-and-out number 3, or picked another opener and maybe push Zach Crawley down, because Zach Crawley doesn't exactly look comfortable against the new ball anyway.
I was going to say that. We spoke about that on the last show, Rob, about Crawley, didn't we? And I think he's had a little bit of form since. He's got some runs for Kent. I don't see him as a Test match opener. He might prove me wrong this summer, and he might have a really, really good run. But I still think he's too loose to open the batting. And there's plenty of openers, like we said. Compton at Kent there today. You know, he's got, what's that? Is that 600s he's got now, Annie, this season? Definitely 5.
Something like that, yeah.
So he's another one banging form, you know. And
because if his runs had counted against New Zealand, he would have got 1,000 runs, wouldn't he?
But he's in form, Rob. There's another player in form who we haven't selected, and I think Crawley's probably. I do agree with you, Ian. There, you've got, if you're a New Zealand bowler, say they win the toss, put us in Thursday morning, a bit overcast, you're going to be licking your lips.
I don't think they'd be scared of Crawley at all. And in fact, I think I was looking at, isn't it the 2 batsmen that wouldn't Sibley get 50 against New Zealand? We played last time we played. Him and Burns. I can't remember. Someone else got 50 against New Zealand, and Sibley's not playing. Not that I'm suggesting we play him, but it's interesting that the team is very similar, apart from the people that scored against them.
Yeah.
Zach Crawley, where would you have him in your team, Rob? Would he be in your 11?
He probably wouldn't be, but I think last week we just came to the conclusion that we knew what squad they were going to pick, and it's like we can discuss it till the carry comes home. But we know they're going to play him, so it's like, right, move on. Really, just we'll do a told you so when the at the end of the series.
Are we thinking in terms of the squad in this series, and I suppose we don't know how McCullum's going to manage it, but are we thinking that he's going to have a very short sort of leash for a lot of these players? He's going to say, look, you've got this series, do what you can, and if I don't like what I see, I'm going to look elsewhere. That's how I'd like for him to look at it. I think we sometimes have too much patience with some of the players in our squad. Like, I think we could see that Burns for a long time, his technique just wasn't going to work against, I think, excess pace. I think he doesn't get through his stance quick enough against people like Stark, etc. And Pope has been given so many opportunities since his ton against South Africa, and he hasn't really ever done anything. And he's still getting chances by default, isn't he? Just because he's young. If he was 5 years older, he wouldn't be in the squad in my eyes after his form. But
he won't be a young player forever, though, will he, Brandon? Because, like
exactly,
you've got to soon start putting runs on the board. You can't just go on your talent. Look, he's a talented player. Look at I think he averages at about over 90 in at the Oval. You know, he's playing there. He can play. I'm not saying he can't play, but can he make that transition? I think he got 100 in New Zealand. I think has he got 200s in his Test career? I think he might have got one against South Africa as well.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned several times, he's a really talented player. It may well be that a home series actually is a springboard that he needs. Playing in conditions are a little bit more accustomed to him. I hope he does well. Believe me, I know I was probably a little bit negative, and there's one or two comments in the chat there. But I think the England situation, and we've seen this a few times in different eras, is because we've not got established opening batters. You almost want to be picking 3 openers, and the third opener comes in at number 3, because essentially, if we're 20 odd for one, your number 3 is doing the opening batsman's job. I think there'll be an awful lot if Crawley goes hard at one, and because he brings his bat basically coming from second slip gully and bringing it sort of straighter, he's liable to sort of nick off, and we've seen that so many times.
Let's face it, if we're 20 odd for one, we're doing better than we normally do. So
That's true.
This is
Yes. Again, I'm trying to be positive, but
I've seen 18 at the bottom of the scoreboard too many times.
But it will be, like you say, the New Zealanders will be there. I know they don't play in a nasty fashion, but they will be reminding Pope that he's had a number of chances, and it'll be a big test for the lad, and I hope he gets through it. But if we lose an early wicket and Pope's striding out there, the pressure will definitely be on him.
Yeah,
just a little stat attack. He's had one score above 50 in 25 innings, 100 in 40 innings.
Yeah, I was about to say he's had 40 innings, 1,032 runs at 28.6. So that doesn't scream to me that he should still be.
Would you be able to find out, Rob? I know it's probably a big ask. He reminds me of Ian Bell. Where would Ian Bell be at this stage of his career after playing a similar amount of Test matches?
Give me 20 minutes.
Anyone in the chat want to search that up as well and help us out, because that's who he reminds me of, Brandon. But I agree there with Ian. It's a massive ask of the lad who's never batted there in his first-class career. He's playing at Lords. Look, it's a great opportunity for him, don't get me wrong, because he'll be really excited, and you've got to grab these opportunities when they come. But if he's coming out with 5 for 1 after 5 overs, the ball's hooping around, has he got the technique, Brandon, to see that off and build?
Sometimes I don't think his technique when he's batted for England really has been the problem. I think it's been up here, isn't it? I think his mind sometimes playing a different shot to what his hands are.
He normally bats one off stump, doesn't he, as well?
Yeah, he seems to sort of shuffle across, and far too many times when you see batsmen batting on off stump, why they dangle a bat outside and nick off, you just think, if you know that you're covering your stumps, why are you playing at something that far sort of to the offside and still nicking off? But I don't think his technique's going to be a problem. I think it's purely
mindset.
Mindset, which is why he gets out a lot of the times balls that he shouldn't be getting out to. I haven't seen Ollie Pope get many worldies, and unfortunately, he still manages to nick off. So, yeah, I think hopefully he looks at this situation like being thrown in at the deep end, and that it is his last shot. So I think that might give him the rock up the arse to hopefully go out there and score some runs.
Last time we played them at Lords, we drew, didn't we?
I looked at the last series New Zealand won was actually against us, wasn't it? Since then they won.
We drew against them at Lords, didn't we? Though.
Yes, and then they won the other test. Yeah. So
normally we only play them, Brandon, in a 2-match series. So it's nice that we're actually playing a 3-match series, and you will get a true result, won't you?
Even if the third one's a few weeks afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of towards the end of the month.
Yeah, 23rd to the 27th. It's Headingley, isn't it? I think.
Headingley, yeah. Headingley.
It's going to be I always like watching our series against New Zealand because we normally both have very good seam attacks, don't we? And it's nice.
It's a great. I mean, the one thing about New Zealand, it seems to me that they're a little bit more stick to their side a bit more consistently. We've got a lot of
they have a good spine
for a good while. Yeah.
Who's your favourites in the New Zealand squad, Annie? So they've named a 20-man squad. I've got it down there.
Well, I love Conway. He played at Somerset for a while, and I wanted to keep him. I think Bolt is a damn good bowler. I love Williams. I really, actually, they're a really nice side. I really like a lot of them.
Do we think that Bolt might miss the first test because he was playing in that final?
Yeah, he's been playing. Wasn't he in the final at the IPL?
Yeah, his figures weren't bad. He bowled 4 overs at 3.25.
Not bad. He's not bad. No. Jameson is.
He's one of my favourites. He is, and he's come in and he's just taken to Test cricket like a duck to water, hasn't he? Really, we were chatting about Joel Garner, and he's another really tall bowler, isn't he? Cole Jameson.
Yeah, massive, isn't he? Yeah. The only player I don't really like very much is Wagner. But I
knew you were going to say that. That's because
I love Wagner.
Yes, I think he's got too many wickets against Somerset, and they, all bounced out, of course. So, I think he's the only one I feel a bit of antagonism towards, and it's nothing to do with Essex, honestly.
Do you think you were saying their Bolt will miss out? You reckon, Brandon? Do you think they'll play Matt Henry? Because I sort of think he's sort of.
I was looking through their bowling options, and it's a little bit disgusting, really, isn't it?
They've
got Tim Southey. I reckon it'll probably be Southey, Wagner, Jameson, Henry, and then their spinner. Is it Patel? Spinner?
Yeah, HS Patel.
Yeah, so I expect that'll probably be their bowling lineup.
You think they'll play a spinner?
Well, that leads nicely. That leads nicely into England's spinner, and the case for the defence will be Annie. And you can go head to head with Ian, because Ian is a Matt Parkinson fan, and we can all just sit back and listen to you two.
Okay, well, it's interesting because I actually think Matt Parkinson deserves a shout. So I'm not the best.
Case closed.
Here, obviously. I think Leach has been treated pretty badly by England. But they've kind of kept him in the background, bringing out drinks, and then occasionally played him when the conditions weren't ideal for him. So he's had a good start to Somerset season, not a brilliant start, but a good start. I think it's worth playing him at Lords, because obviously he's got his highest batting score there. So
he's in for his batting. Then there we go. There's the number 3. We've found the number 3, Annie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right in front of our eyes. There you go, Jack Leach.
Yeah, so I actually agree. I think Matt Parkinson should probably get a shout, and I don't really understand what he's done wrong to not be picked, to tell you the truth. But I think Leachy is a really good team player, and I think he's I can see why he's in the side, but I'm not going to argue with you over Matt Parkinson, Brendan.
Oh, it's not me. It's Ian.
Oh, it's Ian. Sorry, Ian.
No,
I think Dan Lawrence is better than the pair of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this sort of Jack Leach, Matt Parkinson thing, fully understand where that comes from. I've got no issue with Jack Leach. I mean, we've talked about the Matt Parkinson thing to death. And slowly but surely, I think one or two people have agreed on the pod. But again, I think as Annie's saying there, Parky's done plenty of drinks carrying. And, I don't think that they've sort of dangled the carrot and that's now been taken away. Not too sure what the plan is. I mean, if the plan is to take him away touring in the winter, and he's got to face India, I wouldn't want him to get smashed around the park in India and then him, end up as sort of another Simon Kerrigan situation. Because I think he was rather unfortunate as well. So and Parky has been bowling pretty well, I have to say. What I will say is that on Friday night, probably the highlight was when he got Joe Root out. I've never seen him celebrate a wicket as much. So he did look like he enjoyed that one. But
I do wonder. You see, I think maybe there is something in sort of people saying that Joe Root wasn't really sure how to captain a spinner in some ways. So I don't know if there might be a little bit of bad feeling there. I'm not sure.
I think Jack was a bit of a lamb to the slaughter, wasn't he, in the Ashes? And I think again, I think we discussed that, but it was they got after him, and I think that was going to happen. They targeted him, and I think as I say, Pope's going to be targeted in a different way with the batting lineup perhaps now. But it's just it's interesting. Hopefully, it will prove to be the right decision. I hope he does really, really well because I want England to do well. And I want Jack. I quite like Jack Leach. You talk about his highest score at against Ireland, his test score. I was actually at High Wycombe Cricket Club watching my lad play against the RAF that day. So every time we went round, we did circumnavigation of the field. We were amazed that he was still in.
He's still there. He's still there. Anyway, it's going to be Ali and Rashid, isn't it? Judging by what the papers are saying.
I see that Mo and Ali's making noises about coming back. What do you think about that, Annie? I think Rashid's not played. When did Rashid last play a red ball game for Yorkshire?
I mean, you can't doubt their talent. Both of them are really talented players. But you can't just keep chopping and changing, saying you're giving up Red Bull, and then come back and say, oh no, I'm actually okay now. Because if you haven't been playing it, it's a different format, and it's a bit like the Bairstow argument. He hasn't been playing Red Bull for a good long while now, and come back and suddenly play Test cricket. It's a very different. He's been playing in different conditions as well. So I think I'm I'm not a selector. I thank God. But I would be going for people that have been making their mark in county cricket.
I wouldn't be surprised, Annie, for the winter when we're off to Pakistan if they maybe turn to Moeen Ali or Rashid then, because obviously they'll take Jack Leach will go, Matt Parkinson will go. They'll need a third spinner out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they went for one of them for that series.
I'd like to see them play a bit of Red Bull cricket before that.
Yeah,
if that
agreed.
is the case. I don't think it's right to just come back and go, oh, I'm in the Test side again.
Yeah, I don't think you should just pick and choose, should you, Rob, when you're available?
No, I think, well, obviously I'm biased with Mo, aren't I, because of Worcester and that, but also Mo will play in the Championship when he's back, won't he? And if you've got a leg spinner and a left arm orthodox, you probably want the third one to be an off spinner as opposed to another leg spinner. But I think Rashid's hardly played, does he? But I think Mo plays county Championship whenever he can. So
I love Mo. I'd love to see him back in the side. I was really sad to see him leave. So
yeah, but change your guard and that, and he's thrown his hat in the ring. So good on him. So just if Mo's knocking on the door, it just makes everyone else lift their game a little bit around him, thinking that they've got to be a bit better. The likes of Don Bess and whoever else have got to be better. So it's good. The county Championship, like I said last time, county Championship has been brilliant. It's been really strong. Loads of runs, wickets, loads of day 4 finishes. It's all good for Test cricket.
Are we all playing a spinner in our 11s? Are we all playing Jack Leach?
Yes.
I want to, but I don't think they will, because spinners don't do anything at Lords.
Yeah, I don't think they will either. I think they'll play Potts instead.
Ian?
I don't think they'll play a spinner. I think they'll play Jack Leach. No, I'm not too sure. I think it might depend on the. I think it might depend on the conditions, as people have said there on the call. But I think they will play him.
I agree with you, Brandon. I'm not sure how much in the game. It depends on the conditions. I think Joe Root can do an adequate job as a spinner. I want to see Potts playing as well. I want to see what he can do. He's another one, like we said, Annie, about Brook. Potts, he's got 35 wickets at 18. And I know a lot of people will say it's Division 2. It doesn't matter for me. He's in form. He's bowling well. He's taking wickets.
He's been bowling against some class players. And
him in the team.
He's a pace bowler. I think, he's not broken. We need him.
The only reason I think that Jack Leach gets in, if Ben Stokes is fit enough to bowl, there's no need to drop a spinner, because then you've got 3 seamers of between Broad, Anderson, Potts, Overton, and you've got Stokes, which makes 4. If you have 5 seamers, I think that's a bit overkill, isn't it? So I'd just take a spinner. That's what I'd do.
Right.
And seeing Jack Leach is the one in the squad, you'd pick Jack Leach.
True. Another Somerset player. Brandon, talk to me about
time, isn't it?
Talk to me about Craig Overton. Would he be in your team?
He wouldn't know. The only reason I might put him in is because I'm looking at my team here and I've got 4 number 11s.
Yeah,
that does worry me.
Yeah.
How's Sam Curran doing? Does he fancy a game?
No,
he was in my squad. Ian, I picked Sam Curran, didn't I, in the last squad, but he's another one who's suffered from injuries. Overton's in my team. He bats at 8, I think.
Is he in there because he bats a bit?
Probably.
He is, isn't he? Yeah.
That's why you picked Wokesy, wasn't it?
No, I picked Wokesy because he's the most talented cricketer in the world. That's why.
I mean, Overton, he can bat, but he's been getting lots of wickets in county cricket. And to be fair, he hasn't really played much in this country for England, has he? So it'd be interesting to see how he gets on. But I think he's in the squad because of injuries, and there isn't any other reason why he's there, I should think.
Yeah.
It's weird that like our 8th string seamers are starting to get goes now, isn't it? Because all of our sort of, you know, you got Wood, you got Archer, you got even Ollie Stone would probably be given a chance before some of these guys. And
heard he was back to fitness, and then he's out for another 2 weeks, isn't he, Ollie Stone, Annie?
Yeah, he was on the edge, wasn't he? And then there's Jamie Overton was in with a shout for getting on. He's been playing well for Surrey.
Talking of Jamie, what about Jamie Porter? See, he hadn't been playing for Essex. He played against Lanes. Why does he not get a chance, Annie? Do you think is he not quite quick enough?
He hasn't been playing for a lot of the season, has he?
No, he played the first couple of games, and in Essex he was out, but he came in for the last game at Lanes and done quite well.
But he obviously did quite well against New Zealand. So
he got 5.
I mean, I always think we fear him. Somerset. So
is he just a good county bowler, though? Do you think maybe in that step up?
Yeah, in the same ilk as Overton, probably. Yeah, possibly. We haven't had that chance, have we? To see.
You can also say Ollie Pope is a good county batsman.
That is true.
Yeah,
that is true. Batsmen seem to get more of a go, though, Brandon. For me, certain players.
How much further down the pecking order do you think Sam Cook is? If you're picking on potential,
he's another one who I like. Mini chef.
Picking on potential.
Yeah, but they all might get a go this summer if the injuries continue the way they go.
Yeah, the only two that aren't getting injured are Broad and Anderson.
well,
they haven't played a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, Broady's been VIP in all the hospitality lounges in the playoffs.
It's good for you having a few drinks, obviously, rather than
Absolutely.
Let's just touch on Jofra Archer, because obviously he's out for the season. Really, really sad. Ian, he came in. We thought he was the great hope, didn't we? Obviously, we won that World Cup. He impressed in the Ashes, that series, and he's just suffering now. Yeah, obviously had that elbow injury. Now he's had a stress fracture at the back. He's 27 now. Do you see him playing much more? It's big shout. Do you see him playing much more Test cricket, or do you think he'll just be a T20 and a one-day specialist?
Yeah, sort of a Tymel Mills type.
I was going to say Tymel Mills, absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, it would be a great shame for us not to have had Archer in Test cricket, if that's the case, because I think got such a lovely action. I think the wonderful thing about Archer is that he's sharp, but he's got one of these actions that, you know, you don't think he's quick because of he's got a lovely action, and so I think it can come on and it surprises people as well. Listen, it's such a shame for the lad. I mean, we've got, you know, a plethora of injuries, as we've said, but certainly Archer is the biggest miss, I think. You know, I rate him higher than Wood, personally, but it's just a tragedy. I hope he can come back, but it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, he makes cricket sexy, I think. I don't mean it just because of what he looks like. You know, he gives that added extra. And it is a real shame that a time he was bowling against Smith was just awesome and a really, really great sport. And
he's the sort of one that you don't leave your seat to go and get a beer for, isn't it? Definitely. He gets bums on seats to watch him. So and that's the sort of player that I think we need to get the next generation.
Stokes does as well, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But Jofra is unbelievable. I was lucky enough to be there for his first ever spell in that Lord's Test match, because I was there on the second day, and obviously the first day was all rained off. And the crowd, the atmosphere, every time he bowled, all their heads going up to the scoreboard to see how quickly he bowled and the highlights of him beating the edge or whatnot. Everyone just sat there in silence, and then it was just brilliant atmosphere. And he's a brilliant asset, no matter which format he's playing in. but I don't know how much more red cricket we're going to get out of him.
It's like there's one in the chat there, Rob from Craig from Portsmouth, saying he didn't think Joe Root knew how to handle him because someone like Archie, you bowl him 4 or 5 overs and that's it. Short, sharp bursts. I just think we over bowl these bowlers.
Yeah, I can completely agree, Matt. I was about to say, completely agree with what Craig said there. Yeah, spot on. I think we all know that if he'd have been handled a bit better, he might not have got injured. But then have we all got, like a clock ticking on when certain bits break down? I don't know, but real shame. Gutted because I think Jimmy maybe could have gone, potentially retired if Joff had played all throughout. Jimmy might have felt okay about leaving it in good hands, but yeah, real shame. Love, like Brandon said, puts people on their seats or on the edge of their seat.
He's one of these players as well. Like we won the World Cup, like we touched on earlier, like 2019, and you've got a lot of young kids there, Annie, were watching, wanting to be the next Jofra Archer, wanting to be the next Joss Butler, and you need to try and somehow keep these players fit and on the pitch.
Yeah, it would be my argument for keeping Joss in the Test side would be just that X factor again that keeps people really interested, and unfortunately, it didn't happen for him. But yeah,
well, we wish him well. We hope he comes back because we want to see him. I see Mark Wood. It's going to be a slow burn with him, Brandon. I think towards
he's
the end
always broken though, isn't he? He can't last for 2.
But he's another one we
have to take into account though that there are going to be a big generation coming up that are going to want to bowl left arm off spin like Jack Leach. So just remember that.
Brandon as ever. Great point. We missed you. We did miss you, mate.
I knew you would.
So, obviously, 3 Test series. Right. Let's have a few predictions. Who you think is going to be the top run scorer for England? Who's going to be the top wicket taker for England? And what's the series result going to be? We will start with Rob.
Highest runs. Stokes. Root's the obvious pick, isn't it? But Stokes captain from the front. Why not?
Top bowler.
Anderson.
And series result.
3-0. England.
Is that with your head or your heart?
Both. New Zealand just got pumped by a 5th, 7th choice 11. A couple of the boys playing in that game you'd never heard of, and they got blown away by them. They're undercooked. They got no bolt first game. Conway and Williamson are the 2 of the best players in the world. Don't look like getting many runs. I just think they're undercooked. So we've had a really good couple of months of county championship cricket. We're ready to go. 3-0. Thank you very much,
Brandon.
Obviously, these predictions are based on the series not being curtailed because of monkeypox, right?
Well,
making sure.
Are you going on Thursday?
I did get the tickets reserved in the ballot, but then unfortunately I had 2 holidays to end up paying off, so I thought it's a luxury that I could not afford.
Where are you going? Where's your other holiday?
Venice in August.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Thank you.
Take your wellies.
Yeah. I can't swim, so I'm a bit worried, but never mind. I've got the obvious answer of Joe Root getting most runs, and I think Stuart Broad will be right up for this. So I think Stuart Broad with the most wickets, and I'm going to go 2-1 England. But I think the best bowler in the series, I think Tim Salvey is going to have a really good series.
Yeah, he always bowls well over it,
Yeah, he'll take a bucket load.
Right, Annie.
Do they have to be England players or can they be New Zealand players?
Well, you can go New Zealand. We'll do something different if you want. Pick the top run scorer for New Zealand and the top wicket taker for New Zealand.
Okay, so I think Conway is going to come good, and I think he's going to be the top run scorer. Bowling, I just keep thinking everyone's going to collapse and not do very well. I reckon I'm going to go, because I don't like him, I'm going to go for Wagner as the top wicket taker. And I'm going to go 1-1.
Ian?
Well, I'm also going to go 1-1. And I think top run scorer. I was going to say Josh Bohannon, but he's not been picked. I too think Conway. I think from an England point of view, I think the obvious one is Root. But I think Lees is going to have a good series. I'm not saying he's going to be top run scorer, but I've got a feeling that Lees is going to have a good series. And fingers crossed for that. But Conway for me has got the temperament. I think he's going to be the top run scorer. Bowling wise, again, if New Zealand play better than Rob is suggesting, then it could well be one of the New Zealand boys. But I think I agree with what colleagues have said. I think Broad has got more chance of playing the 3 tests than Anderson, to be honest. Now, I know that McCullum has come out and said that he doesn't like this rotation idea. But I just think we might see Anderson playing 2 of the tests and not all 3. And I think from an English perspective, it'd be Broad.
Obviously, they've got no BJ Watling or Ross Taylor. They've both retired, haven't they? So they're 2 big spaces to fill in their team. I know you got Blundell, the wicketkeeper, and you got Henry Nichols in the middle order will probably come in. Darryl Mitchell,
decent, isn't he?
Latham,
yeah, Tom Latham at the top of the order. I think is it Will Young, not the singer?
Yeah, Will Young's been getting runs. Latham gets runs.
Yeah, Will Young actually played for Northampton in the Championship, so he's acclimatised a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll see him getting some.
And they've got everybody's favourite cricketer, Colin de Grandhomme.
But he's not got the locks. He's not got the locks now.
No.
But
he looked very good when I saw him play against Kent.
Is that in the cricketing sense or in appearance? Right.
with his short hair, yeah.
Yeah.
In the cricketing sense, I didn't get a good look at him close up.
I'm going to agree with Annie and Ian. I'm going to go 1-1. I think it'll be a tight series. I think we might lose the first test at Lords, but I think we'll win at Trent Bridge. We're normally quite strong there. Headingley might be a draw. Might get a bit of weather up round Leeds way, up your way, Ian. Top run scorer, I will go for. I'm going to go for Ollie Pope. Everyone's binned him off on here. Everyone's going to bind him off on here tonight, so I've got to stick up for him. I like him. I think he's a good player. Come on, Brandon. Let's get behind him.
No, I want him to do well, mate. Let's say I think it's his last chance, or if it's not, it should be as well.
But yeah, I think he's under pressure, but I think he's going to rise to the occasion. Top wicket taker, I am going to go for Kyle Jamieson for the Kiwis. Big favourite of his. But yeah, I think we want to be competitive. I think to beat the Kiwis at the minute from where we are, I know we're playing at home. I think that's a really big ask. I don't know what everyone thinks. I think it's a really big ask. We've won 1 in 17. But I do agree with you, Rob. They are undercooked. And we've got to hit them hard the first test, first morning. If we win the toss, if they bat, let's get some early wickets. If we bat, hide behind the sofa because it's probably going to be 30 for 3 and here we go again. And Captain Stokes to the rescue. Before we go, we've got Annie on. And I know Ian went to the T20 on Friday. And there's been... I came home, I think it was Thursday. I think there was quite a few T20 games. There was nothing on the TV. I know they're all online. You can watch them. And then you look at the 100, right? The 100's getting all the publicity, Annie. The tickets are cheaper. I was looking at the tickets the other day. The Blast, I see some pictures. I think it was Edgbaston the other night. It was not a great crowd. I know sometimes the weather. I know it's half term now for the kids, but the 100 is getting all the backing. They're having it banging when the summer holidays are. You've got the Blast, right? Personally, for me, there's nothing the matter with the T20 Blast. If you promote it right, you get the ticketing right. There's no need for the 100.
No, I mean, I've argued this so much now, but I think the Blast could easily have been put on TV as a premier, the premier division, and then a lower division down. It could have definitely done that. The reason that it was never gonna be is because you have 18 counties, which means a hell of a lot of games, and the TV companies didn't want to have that many games. They wanted a small block that would be quite but blocked together and quick games. It's much better for their pocket. That is the main reason that we had the 100, and whatever ever other reason they try and give, you could have done any of that through T20 Blast. You could have made it a bit funkier. You could have double-headed it. You could have, you could have done all the things that the 100 do, and actually bloody market it so it gets a little bit of attention. Instead, it's being scheduled badly all over the bloody shop. The reason you haven't had people going is because, it's a Wednesday night. Your kids going to school the next day, and then suddenly there's one at 3 o'clock the next day, or it's all over the shop. It's not on Sky that much. It's not being shouted about, and the tickets are the counties are trying to claw back money from not having not having the 100 last year and not having many games, and from COVID, and they're putting the ticket prices up, which is a foolish thing to do, but it's also necessary, and it's really, really hard. I think you're going to go to something that's 10 quid, that's in the summer holidays, and loads of advertising over something else. If that's just the way it is.
What did you pay in at Old Trafford on Friday night for Lancashire, Yorkshire?
That's a really good question, because I get free tickets from Lancashire. But I believe where we were sat, I think the ticket range is from about 17 to about 35 quid, if I've got that correct. But
They will start selling out. I mean, I think there will be certainly over half term and stuff. There'll be games that are sold out, and hopefully they will do some more stuff like Sean Jarvis did at Leicestershire, where they gave out pie and beer tickets and 10 quid tickets. I mean, things like that. You've got to do that. I mean, it's just it makes sense. You don't want empty, half empty stadiums. It's just a real shame that we are directly competing again, with the 100, we are directly competing against a tournament that has been fabulous and was gaining momentum and gaining new audience all the time.
What are your thoughts, Brandon and Rob?
I concur with everything that's been said. I sort of wrote down before the show that the difference between the T20 and the 100 is how advertised and how accessible it is to everyone, and that really is the big difference. I mean, nowadays I see some T20 Blast adverts on YouTube very sparingly, but as soon as it gets within a month of the 100, it's everywhere, isn't it? And you just think you could have done this with the T20 Blast, and it was all done to bring in new audiences. I understand that. I understand the 100 very little compared to how I understand a normal T20 match in terms of how many balls they can bowl, and
it is a bit confusing when you first put it on the TV screen, Annie, and there's colours everywhere. It's not really simple to understand, and I don't really understand. They say that about trying to get a new audience for cricket. You either like cricket or you don't, and if you promote the T20 as you should, you'd get new people all the time going to that.
Exactly. Well, that's what I mean by revamping it a little bit, make it a bit more Premiership. It could have done it. It was always to do with trying to get money for the TV company. Sky are going to be rolling in it, loving it. They don't want to play T20s because they have to go all over the country to all the 18 counties, and they have to you know, that there's so many of the games, they can't cover them all. So it's not their big, you know, niche. It's not their tournament. You know, the 100, they've got BBC set advertising the hell out of the 100 for Sky. So it's a win-win situation for them.
Go on, Rob. Have the final word on this.
Well, no, it's a sad indictment that as a family, we all like both my two kids play, and my partner, she plays a little bit as well, and we're going to a 100 game because it was 46 quid to go to Lords.
There you go.
To watch the world champions, Southern Brave, because no one else plays the 100, so that makes them the world champions, right? Like,
I was going to say, are they the world champions?
well, no one else plays. It's a bit like America, isn't it? It's the World Series.
NFL. You're the world champion. Well,
that is true.
That's brilliant.
So we're going to that, and it'll be you know, I went last year, and it's a good show put on, but it doesn't need to, you know, it doesn't need to exist. You know, we all know that, but it is what it is.
Right, before we go, I don't know if everyone's seen. Martin put it in the chat a little while. Did you see Ricky Clark played a game of club cricket yesterday? He played for Shrewton Cricket Club, and he scored 229 in 109 balls with 22 sixes and 16 fours. He's getting a little bit of stick on social media. He's tweeted, seems to divide opinion tonight with me helping out a local cricket club by playing for them. Good people who work hard to make the club progress through the leagues, potentially, and attract new players. Personally, couldn't care less what people think. So, Ian, if you rock up on your Saturday and you're coming up against Ricky Clark, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. My favourite players, Ricky Clark, back in the day. One of the things that Dan Norcross and I agree on. And Annie, I'd just like to say that really enjoyed your pre-season preview that I had Dan on. I had the privilege of having
he's great.
He did our presentation night one year because we're Norcross Cricket Club, so there's always been this sort of relationship. But what I would say is that it's a good question. However, Rick Gleeson, who obviously got that wicket at the end of the T20 on Friday, he played for his local club Blackpool recently because he's allowed to do that, because even if you're a professional, you're allowed to play for your local club that you were at as a junior. So Stephen Croft can play for Blackpool, Simon Kerrigan can play for Fulham and Broughton. So they're actually, Ricky Clark's obviously retired, but there's anybody in the professional game can play club cricket.
They pick they say the club they either played at or a club like I know Tender Scudder, when he was at Essex, he had a young lad from Harwich who had cerebral palsy, who was his biggest fan. He was there for all his sort of retirement speeches, things like that. So he put his club down as my club, Harwich and Dovercourt, even though he had never played here other than the charity matches he done sort of each year. But he could technically come down and play for us if he wanted to. But
I think Nick Brown's playing some club cricket as well, isn't he, Brandon?
Well, that's how he sort of got seen by Essex, wasn't it? He was a late bloomer a couple of years ago, wasn't he? He played club cricket. He played not even a highest level of sort of his sort of league system of club cricket, and then he got recognised by Essex, and then look at him now, opening the battle with Alistair Cook. So
Alistair Cook was playing for the was it the Young Farmers the other week, and he got cleaned up by a 15-year-old, didn't he, Rob?
That's right, mate. Yeah, just tried to work one against, try and blast one across the line, and got pulled. Interesting format. It was a 12-over competition.
Is that the new one? Is that the next one? 12 overs.
12 overs. Let's
in?
not do 10 overs. Let's do 12. Yeah, I mean, the overseas players used to come over and play in the league cricket, didn't they?
Still do. Yeah.
Mohammed Amir, I think he was playing for Hornchurch, wasn't he, Brandon?
Yes. He signed on, isn't he? I don't think that's a temporary thing.
He didn't work all week, working 9 to 5, and you think, I'm looking forward to a game of cricket, opening the batting, strolling out, and you've got Mohammed Amir.
Not for me. I think I'd go out there dressed in a bloody, sumo wrestler suit just to make sure I don't get bruised. I'd have all the padding in the world. Not that I need much of it nowadays.
Yeah, Colin says Tamil Mills was at Mildenhall. Yeah, he played there. So,
did anyone see the ball that went viral that Mildenhall lad bowled?
Yeah, although
He
did
chucks out a
bowl.
little bit.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did bowl 18 wides. I think that was you said, Rob.
Yeah, mate. Yeah,
That
correct.
don't matter though, does it? Only the golden delivery gets the.
Oh, he had over 1 million views on social media.
Yeah, but
Was
he
one
does
hell of
chuck
a
it
ball.
a bit. A little bit of a chuck.
Would you have left that, Rob?
No, I'd have probably whipped it over mid wicket.
Bottom hand coming through.
Walking whip for 2. Wouldn't have got to the boundary.
Anyway, I think we've done an hour and 5. Thanks to everyone for getting involved in the chat. It's been a really, really good chat. I just want to say a massive thank you to Annie for coming on. It's been so much fun having you on. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you might want to come back on again.
Yeah, and I can go and put my pajamas on now, can't I?
Yeah. But yeah, this will be available tomorrow as an audio download. We're still looking for a sponsor. If anyone's out there who fancies sponsoring the show, Martin was saying the other day, he was getting on at me. We're looking for a sponsor. So if you want to sponsor us, get in touch via social media. I'm on there. You won't struggle to find me in. I'm pretty sort of recognisable on social media, aren't I?
Yes.
And on that note, thanks for tuning in, and we will hopefully see you. We will do a review of this test. I'm not sure when, because if anyone didn't know, I'm off to the Maldives tomorrow. So
Well, how
happy
lovely.
holidays, and we'll see you all soon.